would polygraph tests make us any safer? Or are they misguided and a waste of resources?
We're joined by MP Tobias Ellwood, whose brother was killed in the 2002 Bali bombings, and he tried to save PC Keith Palmer during the Westminster Bridge attack in 2017. He said lie detector tests are one extra way to combat terror attacks. And Moazzam Begg, who was held and released without charge from Guantanamo Bay, and believes that such tests are meaningless.
Good morning, both. Tobias Ellwood, I mean, you have directly suffered as a result of terrorist attacks, personally. Huge impact on you. The argument is, of course, that if we want to consider releasing terrorists, we would put them under a polygraph test to find out if they're considering committing something again or whether they're prone to. The trouble is, polygraph tests aren't accurate, are they? So why would we rely on them to tell us something so critical?
Well, it's one aspect of a wider armoury of changes that are coming in. It's the first duty of any government to make sure our country is safe. And the sad reality is that we do live in a very dangerous world, as the November attacks, and indeed going back to Bali, also illustrated too. We have to learn from what's happened in the past and expand our ability to be able to understand the psychology of those people that we're releasing back into the public.
So, but what happens if somebody undergoes a polygraph test, which is not 100% reliable, and says, no, I'm completely changed? I mean, as we know in the case of the London Bridge terrorist, you know, he was on a rehabilitation course. He was considered to be cured, for a want of a better word. You know, you undergo a polygraph test, you say, I've got no intention of ever doing anything like this again. Perhaps it's only 60% correct or reliable. And, of course, then they go out and commit an offence again. Why
You're
would
focusing
we rely
understandably on the polygraph tests themselves. There's a wider package of measures. Usman Khan, who killed two people who were actually trying to rehabilitate him, who was actually out on early release. So part of the changes will be that they have to remain in prison their full sentence. But you're absolutely right. There's no easy science here to say somebody is fully rehabilitated or not. It's such a difficult decision to make.
The trouble is,
the polygraph
test makes a good headline, but
the
truth is they're not completely reliable. And it may be that we end up, as a British government, as a country, releasing very dangerous people who are not remotely rehabilitated, like this guy on London Bridge, simply because they pass a test that we know is not foolproof.
No, you're focusing too much just on the polygraph test itself.
Because it's getting all the headlines.
No, possibly, but allow me then to explain. This person was released halfway through his sentence.
OK, so he serves his whole sentence.
He completes his sentence.
But
Secondly,
then
we
does
have
the polygraph test to see, as part of an assessment, to see if he's safe.
And it won't just be the polygraph test itself. It'll be speaking with imams, with the probation officers.
But it shouldn't include a polygraph test, should it? To me, it's a kind of a headline-grabbing thing, deliberately designed to grab headlines, but it doesn't. I don't think it bears relation to the reality. And Moazzam Begg, I mean, tell me about it. I mean, this guy on London Bridge, he was obviously a very plausible liar. He persuaded a lot of smart people that he was rehabilitated. Exactly. It turned out he wasn't rehabilitated at all, but he was able to exude an air of calm. I'm a different guy. I won't do this again. You've got to believe me.
And he would do that during a test?
I would imagine he would have passed a polygraph test quite easily. Now, that would have just released him.
Exactly. I mean, the point is that the American Association of Psychologists have said that there's no evidence at all to show that polygraph tests work. The United States do use them, but not in any criminal trials. And, of course, it's not admissible in courts.
Because they're unreliable.
Exactly. So
and a good liar can pass them.
If it can't secure a conviction, how is it going to secure people from these people on the street?
Everybody here is making the assumption that if you pass that polygraph test, you automatically get out. That will not be
I don't think the polygraph test should be part of it.
It will be.
We know they're not 100% reliable, so why use something?
But they are used today in the UK to do with sex offenders, and it is part of the package of measures that makes a overall assessment.
I get it, but if even 1%
black or white determination as to whether yes you passed, off you go.
But if there's even 1% chance of unreliability, I don't want an Al-Qaeda or ISIS terrorist
which is why subsequent measures are in place, which is why they have to complete their sentence, which is why we're putting more money into the probation service, which is why we're putting more money into
Piers as well.
So you're highlighting on one particular aspect on this.
Well, I'm highlighting it because it's in all the papers. It's the line the government wanted us to highlight.
And I'm here to say it's part of a wider package of measures which you must take into consideration as well.
The government's been throwing money at terrorism for the past 2 decades, almost out of £1 billion industry. We've had a law passed almost every year since the beginning of the war on terrorism, and it hasn't made us any safer.
I don't
so the
agree with that.
The government's
we prevented people from going to Syria. We prevented girls, jihadi brides from going across there. We're actually able to monitor measures. A number of attacks that have been thwarted because of
this
our
guy.
processes.
Hang on.
I hear what you're saying.
No, listen.
To say that it's not.
Hang on. Well, let me give you a direct. Okay, but the guy on London.
Let's give credit to how safe we had kept British streets.
But let's not give any credit, Tobias Ellwood, to a system which allowed this bloke on London Bridge to commit utter carnage. He was released halfway through a sentence. He served only 8 years in prison. He was an Al-Qaeda terrorist. Look, don't pretend to me this government's kept us safe. They let this guy out after 8 years.
Safer than some of the programmes that could have happened.
Who carried out the attacks in 2017, OK? He was planning to go to Syria. Instead of going to Syria, he remained here in the UK. He ended up killing people on London Bridge. So when you say that it's a success to stop people going to Syria, in that case here, I mean, how do you measure success? Does the PREVENT programme that's failed for so long, and that has been that the United Nations has written a report in 2017 saying that PREVENT isn't stopping extremism; it could actually be promoting extremism. The government hasn't reviewed its programme.
Here's my PREVENT programme. If you're a convicted Al-Qaeda or ISIS terrorist who has either committed terror atrocities, plotted terror atrocities, you don't come out. That's how we prevent you reoffending. We don't let you out after 8 years to commit carnage on civilians
that will be in the bill that the Home Secretary will put in.
Well, then stop virtue signalling with this lie detector nonsense.
I'm not. I've done my best through this entire interview to move us on from the lie detection, which is only one part of the
you're
obsessed with lie detection.
I'm obsessed because actually it's what the Home Secretary wanted us to obsess about. The Home Secretary wanted us to talk about lie detection.
And I'm here to say, move forward, Piers. Move on from that.
I would love to.
There's a package of measures here which prevent us.
It's not my initiative, and I think it is cheap headline-grabbing nonsense by the government.
Exactly what
if Freddie Patel was here, I'd tell him the same.
That's exactly what Jack Merritt's father said. One of the victims, David Merritt, he said that this is just a gimmick to grab headlines. So it's not taking into consideration the victims' families at all and their views.